Hello again, everyone. I hope you found yesterday's video devoted to a section of Hasty useful. I would have completed this video, which is going to be devoted to Alegant and McLean, a little sooner today, but unfortunately the house builders have been out in force, and so I've had to dodge their um, concerted hammering, their tutty hammering, and they seem to be on their lunch hour, so hopefully I'll be able to fit this in before they restart. So yes, this video is going to be devoted to a section of Alegant and McLean. So let's give the text reference for this article. The citation is article title on the nature of enlargement. The authors are Brian Alegant and Donald McLean, and it was published in the Journal of Music Theory, volume 45, number 1 in 2001, and the page run is 31 to 71. So I hope that's helpful if you don't already have that information. So quite a bit of the article is given over to footnotes, so I'm going to take roughly half or slightly over half to make some summary statements about the text and then to ask a series of 8 questions. So there'll be 8 questions. Depending on how this video goes, I might actually pause it and then split it into 2, but let's see if I can produce it as just a single piece of video footage. Okay, so let's begin, and here are some observations then. On page 31, the general introduction says this, that enlargement is a transformational feature entailing temporal expansion. So a single musical unit is going to be expanded in time. It was developed as an idea thought in a tonal context by Schenker's notion of, quote, concealed repetition. So that's how the translation from the German goes, concealed repetition. It was latterly developed by Schenker's students who came across to the US, and then by a number of US theorists who perhaps studied with them in the 1970s and 80s. And it was particularly linked to the concept of voice leading motive. I'll say a little bit more about that later, but voice leading motive. So this particular article is organized in 3 parts, and they span both tonal and post-tonal contexts. Enlargement, then, for the 2 authors is viewed in respect of both object and process. So object and process. So here are 2 questions. Question 1. How do the authors define the object of enlargement? There should be a short phrase that you need to be able to pick out. So how do, as question 1, Alegant and McLean define the object of enlargement? Question number 2. Objects and process in terms of enlargement both entail 2 additional criteria of match and fit. So whether enlargement is viewed as object or process, it entails 2 additional criteria of match and fit. What 2-word phrase denotes the former, that is match? What definition do they give to that? Just 2 words. And which 2 considerations determine fit? So a 2-word phrase that denotes match and 2 criteria that determine fit. So that's question 2. So moving on. Schenker's sense of motive isn't as we would automatically, or shall we say by tradition or established understanding, conceive of motive. That is a small unit which is then sort of audibly developed throughout a texture. So we think of, say, the beginning of Beethoven 5 as a very clear example to refer to. Instead, Schenker's sense of motive involves repeating patterns in terms of voice leading prolongation across different structural levels. So a particular feature of voice leading prolongation, which would be there within a single level, but perhaps also cross voice leading levels. So let's take this back to the article, and here is question 3. Does the short 3-note figure E5, C5 and A4 that's referred to in the first example from Schumann's Kleine Studie achieve a fit within its enlarged prolongational context. So does the E5, C5, A4 figure noted in respect of Schumann's Kleinasch-Studie achieve a fit within its enlarged prolongational context? So it's basically a yes or a no I'm looking for there. Question 4. A series of matching -6, so a series of matching -6 are discussed in relation to a variety of fits throughout the exposition of Beethoven's Opus 2, No. 1, First Movement Sonata, and this is just the exposition of that first movement. So here's the question as such. Does the interval F natural 6 to A flat 5 achieve a fit across measures 84 to 102? Does it achieve a viable fit for the authors across measures 84 to 102? So again, simple response should be yes or no. So just moving on now with summary. Alegant and McLean see this latter example, that's the Beethoven, as instancing composing out. So they separate the notion of composing out from that of enlargement. Enlargement they see as something more specific. And they define this as the presentation of an ordered string of pitch classes. So whereas composing out can extend an idea through various procedures, enlargement involves a strict string of pitch classes which are then spread out in time across the duration of a composition. But they say that this idea of gradation, the idea of even motive in a tonal context for Schenkerian theorists, does involve a sense of associative frameworks according to degrees of, we may say, authenticity or precision. So in other words, they argue that the established theoretical context in terms of tonal motive in a Schenkerian sense, that is to do with prolongation, can involve a whole set of assumptions according to which some are more central and appropriate and some of which are less essential and appropriate. So they are drawing down out of that the idea of composing out being more general in a post-tonal context as opposed to enlargement being specific. Okay, so we're going to move on to a post-tonal context just now, but what I am going to do is edit by pausing this first video and then making a second one so that this first video doesn't just grow to enormous proportions in itself. So I'm going to fail to enlarge it and actually truncate it and then restart. So there'll be two videos relating to this passage, pages 31 to 49. And where we'll pick up again is roughly page 39. Okay, so I'm going to stop the first video and the second one will hopefully continue almost directly. Okay, bye for now.